got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no home, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mafia! Well, we got the big dump to the downside yesterday, guys, and we are coming down to a key level of support. Are we about to see a bounce from where we're at right now? I want to cover some key levels, talk about what we saw play out yesterday. As you guys know, if you tuned into the live stream last night, I was in a short position, and then literally on the Frankie Fakeout, I signed off. I said, I'm going to take some profit on this trade, guys, right after the stream. And we did the outro, and I went to take profits, and I closed like 98% of the position by accident. I thought I had hedge mode on, but I didn't. So that trade wound up closing in full, but not too bad. Made about $10,000 there in a few hours last night. However, I was anticipating another drop down to our value area low. As you guys know, before a little retracement to the upside, we saw that retracement up. We caught the scalp long. Low key yesterday, guys, I took profit on that long position. I was like, that's it. Stop loss to break even. I'm going to bed. I feel like I just got away with murder. So I wound up closing that trade, but caught that little retracement to the upside. We were unable to get above the POC, so we anticipated that move down to the value area low. We pushed back down to the value area low with the volume profile playing out in full once again. And now we're sitting at that level, guys. Are we going to hold it? There is some nuance here. I want to talk about the level that we're at. It's not impossible to bounce from where we're at right now, but there are some reasons why I did not take a long position down here. And if it does continue up, that's no big deal. I'll let it fly to the upside, and I'll wait for that next high probability setup. So shout out to the Candle Mafia. We're going to cover all the key levels, what I'm looking at next for the trades, so you guys are prepared to make some money trading Bitcoin, whether price is going up or down. Regardless of what happens, we're going to have you guys prepared for that next move before it actually happens. Shout out to Giga Longbottom in the chat. Said, I almost stayed for a fake out. Should have trusted my gut. Shout out to Giga Longbottom. Yeah, it was low-key a little bit of a, again, I can't complain about making that money on that quick move down, but it was the second time in a few days that I accidentally closed the position in full when I wanted to hold a portion of it. Two different mistakes that I made there. But again, when your mistakes end up making you money, you can't be too upset about it. It's just frustrating, right? Because it's like a stupid mistake. I hate making stupid mistakes. But we're not going to make that moving forward. I probably will at some point, but I'm going to try not to. But anyway, yeah, can't complain. We got Gen Z in the chat. Said, K Dig knows. Shout out to Gen Z. What is going on? Said, hat for Gen Z. Yeah, we're rooting for you, Gen Z. By the way, guys, speaking of hats, if we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream, we will be giving away 3 Frankie Candles hats. And we're rooting for Gen Z. We're rooting for Gen Z. We'll be doing the giveaways tomorrow, right? Today is Thursday. Oh, my God, guys. The time goes so dang fast. But, yeah, we'll be giving away, if we get 1,000 likes, we'll give away some Frankie Candles hats. And, yeah, we're rooting for you, Gen Z. We got Parnov in the chat. Shouting out Phoebe. Let's go. Shout out to Parnov. Welcome in. We got War 20. I'm gonna call you War. I don't know if like YouTube loves us saying that full name, but shout out to War in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you. We got Ozgun in the chat. Nirvana P Dub. Regular guy Trades said smack that like button. Let's go. We got Felix in the chat. Tyler Durden. Crypto Billy. Crypto Anon. Rob the Crypto Stop. Darren Dustings. Dave Digital. Guys, you know who the mods are. Show them some love in the chat. They help us out endlessly. So show them some love. But yeah, we got E-Generate in the chat. K Diggity, of course. We got Roland. We got Servando Estrada. What is going on, bro? I think I saw you come in last night. I didn't shout you out, but I saw you after the stream that you were chatting. But yeah, guys, we got a lot to look at here on the chart. Shout out to Sam. Said first short through the whole value area, top to bottom. Profit at pocket and moved stop loss, closed at value area low. Shout out to Sam Cam. Are we going to start the Frankie Candles live stream already? 2 minutes in with not a money spread, but a money throw. Hey, shout out to you, bro. Congrats on trading those volume profiles and making yourself some money. And yeah, guys, we're going to take a look right now, and I'll show you why these are, I don't know, guys. The volume profiles are, I don't know. They should start paying me to promote this thing, but it works, guys. That's why I talk about it. And Jesse, we got Jesse, the like police, is in the chat, guys. If he asks you to touch that like button, respect him. You don't want to mess around with the like, please. So shout out to Jesse. We appreciate you, bro, and welcome in. But without further ado, guys, we got a lot to look at here on the charts. So let's go ahead and try to figure out Bitcoin's next move. Let's get into it. So here we are, guys, on the Bitcoin chart. And obviously yesterday with all the tariff stuff, we got the big dump to the downside. We're starting to get a little bit of a bounce here. The question right now is this bounce going to be a big one, potentially to fill that whole profile that we have? I will obviously bring up the levels here in a second, but are we going to fill this whole profile once again? It's not impossible. I'm going to talk about some little confirmations we saw down here, but I am not currently long from here. But again, like I said, I'm totally fine missing out on that move, guys. You cannot catch every single move. And if yesterday wasn't a perfect example of that, as you guys know, we had the long setup here from the value area low in the premium Discord, but it's set up over the weekend. I didn't get my entry. We did catch some nice scalps on the way up, but, I just let that price continue up. I'm not going to just FOMO in on big green candles, and I know that there's going to be another opportunity, and in my case, it was that short position here at the value area high. I did catch that and then made that money last night on the short, but I am not long currently, so if it does come up, shout out to anybody who is long. We were looking for a bounce here in the premium Discord, but letting everybody know, there's not a ton of like really nice confirmations here, and I'm going to break it all down for you guys today. But before we jump into the local timeframes, what I'm expecting here locally, I do want to kind of cover what happened yesterday, right? Because guys, these volume profiles, if you were here to learn how to trade, this is the #1 tool. Obviously, you got to understand how to use TradingView and all that good stuff. But the volume profiles, guys, there is literally no other trading tool that will help you make high probability trades like the volume profile. So as you guys know, this is still our current volume profile, so it's not just completely looking in hindsight here. This is the range that we've been looking at, and not only did we have that long setup from the low above the POC, flip that POC, look to go to the high. We have the short setup here, which is the one I took yesterday. But it's not just that, right? We also had the short up here the last time we approached the value area high, back down to the POC, back down to the low. And we also had a long setup as we were deviating below here, looking to come in, hold above that value area low, flip the POC, and come up to the value area high for 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 full rotations of that volume profile, all with significant percentage moves, right? Obviously, we do catch a ton. I could even like pull it up here. It's going to look like a mess. But if I pull up, I save all of our trades, winners and losers here in a folder for the premium Discord, just so we can see. What the heck? Hang on a second. Huh. Dang. This might be on another template. These trades used to go all the way back here. I got to check on that. That would be so sad if we missed out on all that. Sometimes it's fun to go back and look at the trades you took. But you can just see here recently, right? Like not only did we catch the big moves, the big percentage moves from the low to the high for a nice 8% move, right? Then the short back down for another 7.5% move, et cetera, et cetera. Those are where we look for the big trades. But you can see here, we had a ton of little scalps in between inside these little local ranges. But obviously for the bigger trades, I really do like to wait for price to come up to those bigger key levels. Even if we front run them slightly, we know, hey, like even here, guys, right? We came down and we technically front ran this value area low at the time. But what happens, guys? Eventually price does come up and wicks right into that value area high. And we also knew that if we were going to break above these equal highs right here, that it would be a very fast move to the upside because of the liquidity that we had sitting above. And I covered this on a market update that we made saying, hey, guys, if we get up here, not only are we obviously, the overall plan was to go from the value area low, flip the value area low, and then eventually look for the value area high to come in. But we knew once we cracked cracked above these equal highs, that we are going to push into those liquidations, and we might see that aggressive wick. Right now, obviously, the Trump speech kind of gave us the volatility, but we already knew, right? Isn't it like magic that we know, hey, once you break into here, we're probably going to see some kind of a crazy wick, and we get it, although the news did give us that volatility, but like we know that we can anticipate that leverage to get flushed out and give us that big wick, giving us the opportunity to look for that short position for the full rotation down. And last night on the live stream, guys, it's pretty funny, right? I did catch that short position. I accidentally closed it down here in full, obviously, but then was talking about how I am going to enter a scalp long position in anticipation of a small retracement, right? Because once you're below that value area, once you're below, reject the value area high and you get below that POC, the overall anticipation is the same thing as down here, right? Get above the POC, go to the value area high, get below the POC. If you can't get back above it, you are going to be looking towards that value area low. Now, this POC did move up, I believe, just a little bit as I did extend the profile over to the right, but I did catch that nice little scalp long position. There it is, right? I was actually looking for this only to come in, right? And again, if I was anticipating the value area low, a lot of people will ask, like, well, why the heck were you even looking for a long if you were anticipating lower prices? And the simple answer is, guys, we can capitalize on these little moves to the upside as long as we understand we're not looking to take that up to higher prices. If it wound up ripping, right, we can let that hit us by surprise. But the idea here was to scalp this thing back up, not just to the POC, right? We want to understand all those key levels that we have. And I was specifically with the premium Discord looking to come up to the golden pocket and then maybe the 786 POC confluence. And again, I actually think this POC moved up slightly, but same zone, right? 786 golden pocket. If we're going to put in that lower high before breaking structure to the downside to revisit the value area low, this would be a great place to take some profit. That wound up hitting TP1. I took some money, put it in my pocket, and then I moved my stop loss to break even. I'm like, I'm going to bed. We crushed the short. We crushed the long. I'm not pushing my luck. And it was a great day, right? So, and then what happens, right? Not only did we get that to play out, but we did eventually get what we anticipated, which was that push back down to the value area low. Now, I know a lot of guys are probably asking, like, Frankie, you went to the value area low. Why the heck would you not long this thing? Well, like I said, we are potentially could push up here. I am going to show the local levels of resistance in case we are going to come back down here. But as you guys know, right, we on this last retracement down to the value area low, we slightly front ran this golden pocket, right? And that kind of gives us, this makes this still a key level of support. We held the value area low with really nice 4-hour bullish divergences. And these are really the confirmations that I like to see for a big move through the profile, right? Doesn't mean that you can't bounce here, maybe come up a little bit. But, really those medium time frame bull divs are really what I like to see for the big moves up. And when we look at this, right, we front ran that golden pocket, and once we come down here, this is still an area we were interested in because we have that fresh golden pocket, and not only that, we also had a daily level that was also front run back here, right? We actually, that's what we're bouncing off of right now. We push into the golden pocket, held support on the daily, and then we came back into the profile, which technically does open up the door into this point of control, which is still kind of confluent here with at least the 786 Fibonacci retracement, right? So if we do continue up, I'm going to show a local range I'm watching as well as a little bit of a different context. But we came down to the value area low, and you can see here, right, we don't really have any medium hourly time frame bull divs. And again, this is what I like to see if we had lower lows on our price action and we had higher lows on our momentum waves here, which we do not have. That's kind of what I look for the big rotations through the profile like back here. But we don't really have that, right? There's no 1 hour bull div. There's no 2 hour bull div, right? I guess if you, not really, like just to the wick here kind of. But for the most part, right, and it doesn't, again, I want to be very clear. This does not mean that we cannot fill the whole profile. You came down to the value area low, and we did get some confirmation, right? You had little 15-minute bull divs here. You could see with our lower lows on our price action into that key level of support, right? With our higher lows on our momentum waves giving us that 15-minute bull div. At that point, you expect to at least come on into the volume profile again and then potentially work your way up. But again, I am being careful, guys, because this is kind of all we had. 15-minute bull div. We also had a little swing failure pattern down here as well. I'm not going to go, it was from these wicks right down here. We swept some liquidity, held that daily, and that is pretty much where we're getting the bounce from. Now, again, can we come up from here? Absolutely. I'm totally fine letting that play out. Like I said, guys, once you start trading for a long enough period of time, you realize that it's not worth it to just try to catch every single move on low confirmation. And if price goes, you got to let it go without you, and you find the next high probability setup. And again, if this was not a perfect example of me not being able to catch every single trade as well, hopefully that kind of shows you guys, right? Like I sit through this, right? And again, we caught the nice scalp positions as well. It's not like I made no money in this, but we had that set up. We waited for this for so long. It set up and it went, right? Am I getting emotional trying to long the top? No. Can we look for longs on pullbacks? Absolutely, especially because we had money flow coming up, indicating the trend was likely to continue to the upside, but you have to wait for those pullbacks. And we talked about those pullbacks on the live stream as well. But if it does come up, I'm happy to let it kind of go. Maybe I can catch an entry on a higher low if it is going to fill in full. But with just the low time frame context here, low time frame confirmations that we had, not surprised to see a bounce here. This is kind of what we were looking at. But I am going to be very careful around these areas, and it's for a very specific reason, guys, because we did come down, tap the daily, we did come down, tap the golden pocket, but we also have some other key levels down here. If we pull up the weekly naked point of control, we barely front ran that. We also have the bottom of the golden pocket, and I do believe we have a weekly level down there as well, right? So we do still have some significant support down below, right? So when it comes down to like the basic chart here, again, I know we look at a lot of levels on this channel, and it's because we could capitalize on the little scalp moves, but for the most part, go from the low to the high, right? From the high to the low, from the low to the high, from the high to the low. So there is a possibility of that being the case, but really what I would like to see here are more, bullish divergences on more medium time frames, right? Like even a nice little 1 hour bull div would be really nice. So for me personally, like I said, we were looking for a bounce here. I just didn't take the position because I didn't like the confirmations. But if we do push back down in here, guys, I'm going to be looking for some, more medium time frame bull divs, something like a 1 hour bull div. And again, it's not just the 1 hour bull div. I want to reassess the situation and see if we could catch a long position on this level, right? With the 1 hour bull divs, and then hopefully we could get some other bull divs as well. 2 hour doesn't look like it could really set up for that as beautifully as the 1 hour, but this is really what I'm going to be looking for. If we come back down in here, we're looking for another bounce. We're already getting another bounce, but and then if we do come up here, right, like the opportunity to potentially get a little push up here and then come down, put in another lower low for the big bounce, that could be something that we see play out. So that's kind of what I'm playing. I'm not holding any positions as of right now. We had a really, really good day yesterday. So when I don't see those really, really strong medium time frame confirmations, I'm happy to let price go if it wants to. But, I only like to take the highest probability trades. And if I don't, I like to manage that risk very, very, very heavily. But, so if we do continue up here, right, with the SFP and the bull divs on the lower time frames into the value area low, technically the doorway into that POC is open, right? It's a very, very simple concept. Once you get below the value area low or even push into it with any kind of bullish confirmation, even if it's just low time frame, it is usually a decent chance to come up, and technically the doorway to the POC is open. Now, we do have the confluence here on our 786 when pulled from this lower high all the way to the low here. You have your golden pocket sitting at about 83,423, and then your 786 POC sits right here at about $84,000. Right, that $84,000 POC, and it did move up a little bit. It was at like $84,000 yesterday, so like just right here, we barely front ran that POC yesterday, but it has moved up a little bit. So it is sitting at about 84,000. Call it $240, right? So if we do continue up, I am going to be looking at these as our next key levels of resistance. If we get above the golden pocket, you can anticipate, maybe a little turbulence at the golden pocket, but once you get above it, I'm going to be looking into that 786 POC. And then, if we get the rejection back down, maybe we come and test that, value area low one more time for a potential long opportunity. But if we do wind up flipping above it, obviously we can look up back towards a full fill of this volume profile. So this is still a valid range, guys, and it is crazy. Like, I know when you start bing-bonging around inside the range, it's like, is this range going to play out? And little, it's like more often than not, even if it is a tiny little wick to tap your key level, it is going to get hit. So that's really what I'm looking at. Looking like we are getting a little push up here, which is nice to see. We also have some low time frame money flow coming up. 12-minute money flow starting to come up, 10-minute money flow starting to come up with some medium time frame green dots. So if we are going to see a bigger retracement to the upside here, 4-hour green dot, 3-hour green dot is printing. But if we get that 4-hour green dot with our 15-minute money flow coming into the green here, that could give us that anticipation of the continuation to the upside, right? So 4-hour green dot prints, 15-minute money flow comes into the green. We could look for higher lows and higher highs to potentially continue that trend to the upside locally, right? But I am going to be really careful around these levels of resistance. I also want to go over some liquidity with you guys, but this is just the overall range, right? So if you're here for the bigger levels, very simply put, for my bigger trades, I am going to be waiting for better confirmation down here, and if we just shoot up from the local confirmations that we got into the value area high, we are simply, just like we've been handling this range over the last pumps, right? Looking for shorts at the value area high, took the short at the value area high, took one up here as well. But if we do wind up wiggling our way up here and get some kind of pump to the upside, I'm going to be looking above that value area high for our potential next bigger setup, right? If we get confirmations up there. So for me, longs down here, just like we were looking at yesterday, right? We were looking at this level yesterday too. So longs at the lows, shorts at the highs, and that's just typically how we trade the volume profiles for those bigger moves. Now, I am going to be looking at some more local levels as well, guys. I'm going to take this off the chart because I think I have these levels saved in another folder. But if we pull up our local range, I'll turn off the dailies, I'll turn off the weeklies, I'll turn off the naked point of control, and that. I'm going to get this liquidation level off the chart. I just wanted to kind of show this, right? Because we've been talking about that liquidity sitting up here for quite some time, and what happens? You get the big wick through it, and then the big drop to the downside. So I'm going to get that off the chart. I just wanted to give it to you guys for a little bit of extra educational sauce. But if we take a look here at our local range, guys, this is actually an older range that we were looking at. I deleted the old folder, but this was actually an older local profile that we were looking at, and we had pretty much just come back down and respected this range. So this is more of like the local context that I'm looking at, right? We came down here. When I'm looking for long positions, right, if I were to take a long down here, I would look at it more in the context of this smaller profile. Very similar levels, but you can see this profile was also respected. Whether you were looking at this profile or our larger current profile, you would have still been looking pretty much at the same levels, but this one you kind of rejected. Actually, this is a bad example because the value area high wasn't here at the time, but here you come up and you tap the value area high. But when you look at the more local range, it's just another kind of context, right? So I pull up the local range. You can see deviation above. Can't get accepted at the higher prices. Once you break back down into your range, you look for the bearish retest. Once you get accepted back into the volume profile, you can see you break down, bearish retest. Once that happens, you're going to expect about an 80% chance, guys. Some people call this an 80% setup. About an 80% chance of coming back down through the volume profile into your POC. Once you lose the POC, bearish retest, you look to go to the low, right? So just a little bit of a different context. In this context, you have the deviations. In the bigger context, you just had like the taps of the value area high. Same thing here, right? Deviation above, liquidity grab, send it back into the range, and then where are you looking for price to go? Back down to the POC. You kind of bounce off the local POC, but then you lose it right here, right down to the value area low. So technically, right, valid long setups or valid bounces at this value area low for a move into your POC. This one sits at about 83,238, right? Flip that POC. Look for a move into your daily level at about 85,120. Flip that. You could look to go to your value area high, and this could be another area to look for some scalp shorts as well. So the local range, right, this is kind of more lower time frame. If we continue up, we could look to get some respect on these levels, right? And then we start, pairing this up with some Fibonacci retracements, and you can see we are starting to get a little bit of confluence up here towards that value area high, right? So locally, we could just mark out this value area high golden pocket resistance, right? These are the bigger levels. Obviously, we have some more local levels that we're looking at in the premium, but I'm not going to cover every single level, right? There's a million ways this could play out, but I'm just going to give you guys the bigger levels because, by the time we go live again, probably price is going to move a decent bit, right? So hopefully it'll move a decent bit. But if we do continue up, right, we flip the POC, you're anticipating to come up to your value area high. Don't forget your daily, but really the confluence is up here towards that golden pocket value area high. Now, if we start to look at some of our liquidity, guys, it's important to understand where that liquidity lives. And there's a few different levels that I'm looking at, right? So if we take a look here at the heat map, you can see just below the low, our current low here at about $81,100. We do have a little bit of liquidity sitting below, leading us down to about $80,647. So, again, it doesn't guarantee that we're definitely going to come down there first, but if we did, right, this would kind of give us that anticipation, and it kind of lines up with the key support that we have on our current range here. Maybe with the liquidity living down here, we can kind of come down, maybe deviate below the profile, and then we can look for those confirmations, or at least we will be in the premium for a potential long position back into the range and then back up towards the highs. But just understand there is liquidity sitting down here, which could act as a magnet. But if we take a look again at the liquidation heat map, let me actually pull up a little bit of a different time frame here. Let's pull up the 48-hour and see if we can get that upper liquidity that we can see here. Come on. So yeah, let's take a look at this together, right? So you have this. We already came up and took this chunk, right? But up here at about $84,000 is really where that big chunk starts. $84,000 leading you up to about $84,600. Where we at? Right, 84,000 up to about 84.6, right? This is coming in line with some of our local Fibonacci levels, right? So POC is obviously going to be key resistance. Maybe we come up, right? Just understand you have a little bit of liquidity here, which could potentially give you a little bit of an liquidity grab for a potential return back to the downside. But for the most part, guys, I don't want to get like super nitty gritty onto every single situation. Simply put, we're at support. We have local confirmations. If we do continue up, $84,234 is that next stop, in my own personal opinion. Flip that. We could look to come into some of these other Fibonacci retracements, right? Because if we're going to put in lower highs and lower lows, right, maybe we come up for the full retracement, put in the lower high, and then continue the bigger move to the downside. But right now, the way I'm playing it, guys, again, I'm not holding any positions. If we come back down in here, I will look for a long. And then if we break down below this volume profile and we do not hold it, right, just like any other profile, if you don't get bullish confirmations down here, or even if you do, right, and they just don't play out and you get stopped out of your long, once you get rejected out of this range, the next key level, guys, is that same level between about 79 call it 79,120 all the way down to about, let me pull up the daily real quick, all the way down to about $78,536, right? So if we are unable, right, the hope here would be that this profile is just going to continue to play out, right? Like we could just keep looking at longs at the lows, shorts at the highs, but eventually, guys, price it ranges about 80% of the time. But, we can't expect this, especially after like all these beautiful moves through the entire profile, right? I don't know. I was talking to the premium earlier about like, I don't know, like it seems a little bit too good to be true to just be able to rotate this in full. But, the TA could potentially call for that, right? So, again, if we do not hold this, right, whether we hold it here or come down first to hold it, if we are unable to remain inside this range and we get rejected out of here, this is the next big level to look at. Because once you wind up losing that golden pocket, where's the next place you're going to expect price to go, right? It's probably going to get gravitated towards that 786 Fibonacci retracement. So come back down. Maybe we don't respect the golden pocket or any of these other levels that we have down here. A lot of confluence down here, so it is pretty strong resistance. But once you melt through that and you can't get back above, probably going to look for the bigger drop down to this zone here. And then that is the please, for the love of God, bounce here, because if we do not bounce here, guys, there is, in my opinion, a decent probability that we could come back down towards that $76,400 to $75,000 zone. These are the big three levels, right? And these have been the three levels ever since we got this move up, right? Let me just grab this. Whoops, that's the wrong fib. Bear with me here. Yeah, ever since we made this high here, this is pulled from the swing low to the swing high, and we bounced off the golden pocket. If we lose that golden pocket now, obviously the next anticipated place for price to go, in my personal opinion, is going to be that 786, especially with the confluence on that daily. And hopefully we could just hold that dang level, guys, because if we lose that, that's where we're looking down towards about 75K. And, this box does start at about 76.4, but that $75,000 weekly naked point of control is going to be a really, really big level to hold, in my own personal opinion, right? Right down here, almost $75,000 exactly. So those are the levels I'm looking at. Hopefully we could just get the bounce here, even though I'm not in the long. Hopefully for anybody who did catch a long down here, hopefully this goes through the entire profile for you. But again, for me personally, I just want to see better confirmation. So I'm sitting on my hands until either we get some kind of a pullback and I can, if I find a setup that I like on a lower high or a higher low for a continuation up, I'll take that. If not, I'm waiting to come back down into our key level of resistance or support. Can't hold this. I'm looking down here, and if we don't hold this, I'm looking down here. And, I could cover the lower levels too, but we're pretty far away. I don't think we're going to see 70K by tomorrow, hopefully. So, yeah, other than that, low time frame money flow coming up with the medium time frame green dots. I would short-term anticipate some kind of a continuation up here towards these next local levels of resistance. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking at. Daily red dot is also printing. So that's not something, this could easily just flip right back into the green for an immediate green dot after this. But for me personally, I don't really like to long against this in a really aggressive way. If anything, like I said, it would be a little scalp move off that value area low into these local resistance levels. So that's what I'm looking at for the most part. Being patient, waiting for the fire setups. But, yeah, anybody who's long from down here, hopefully this value area low, because I know a lot of you guys are starting to look at these volume profiles from what you've learned here on the live stream. And you would not be wrong seeing these bullish divergences at the low. I just, for the bigger retracement, like to see the higher time frame confirmations. But let's see if we can get that 15-minute money flow, some of this lower time frame money flow to cross over into the green with our medium time frame green dots for that continuation of our trend into hopefully the POC. Flip that POC, look to come up towards that golden pocket at around 86K. And again, we have liquidity above, but we also have liquidity below. So it's an if this, then that statement. We come down here, look for a potential bullish confirmation, maybe a sweep of liquidity, get back in, look to come to the POC, flip the POC, look to go through that profile. Very, very simple. I know it seems very confusing with all the intermediary levels and all that, but at the end of the day, guys, it's all noise, right? The local levels just create the noise. But when you look at this just from a straight volume profile perspective, it is a very, very clean way to trade, guys. And someone mentioned Bitcoin dumped because it went into premium, which is hilarious. I don't want to say hilarious, but it's like pretty cool, right? Because it's a very similar situation on the volume profile, right? We look at this as premium, right? Or overvalued or above your fair value or expensive. And then you look at the value area lows as undervalued or cheap, right? And then in the middle, towards the POC, this is the fairest price for your asset, right? So when you come up to the overvalued areas, this is why we look for shorts up here. A lot of people do the opposite, right? They look for longs as prices pumping. Why are you looking for shorts up here? We're pumping. You're crazy. You're crazy. What are you doing, right? But at the end of the day, we know that based off the relative price action within the volume profile, this is overvalued. So why would we not short that back into the anticipated fair value, right? And the same thing at the lows. If this is considered cheap and you have bullish confirmations on the chart saying that you might get a bounce, why not buy that back into the fair value? Same thing up here, right? So it's just that, beautiful, beautiful, big rejections and big bounces from those volume profiles are absolutely goated, guys. So again, hopefully, it's not gonna be painful, right? But hopefully we can come up here. I hope that we come back down first so I can catch another better, higher probability long. But if it does continue up, it'll be nice to see that TA play out once again. But again, like this would be crazy, guys. If it's just like full fill, this would be an absolutely goated volume profile. So yeah, other than that, guys, all these levels are pretty much the same. Nothing was really changed. We tapped the golden pocket, we tapped the daily, but we still have some confluence down here. And then the key resistance still remains the same. We're just within our volume profile. We're going to trade this range until this thing breaks to the upside or breaks to the downside. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Dave Digital, said happy birthday, Rob. By the way, guys, wish Rob, the crypto snob, a happy birthday. It is his birthday as every other single day in the year. He's the only person with 365 birthdays a year. Let's see. Let's check in on chat real quick. Shout out to Fox3, said the big FU candle incoming for Bitcoin came. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Fox3. I actually do remember you saying big FU candle coming on the Trump news, and there it is, baby. There it is. And we were able to capitalize on that as well. Let's see. Shout out to Alberto Fuego, said every trade has round trip. Alberto, you got to take profits, brother. You got to take profits. Shout out to Alberto. Honestly, the volume profiles make this very, very simple as well, right? If you're trading the volume profiles, right, like for this particular situation, the trade that we were in, I was in last night, right, from the value area high. Typically, the POC, when you're in from the value area high, typically that POC is your first take profit. At that point, you could take profit off the table, move your stop loss to break even. That way, if it comes up and gives you a big bounce, you stop out, but you have your profit taken, so you get stopped out in a win, in profit, right? So that way, it's a guaranteed winning trade at that point. If price breaks below the POC and goes down to the value area low, as you would expect, as we were looking at last night. I mean, hey, if you're watching the Frank Candles YouTube channel, maybe you could even catch the scalp long back to the upside before you go down. But, once you get down here, TP1, stop loss to break even, guaranteed winning trade. If it breaks down below the POC and goes to the value area low, as you would hope for, then you could take more profit at the value area low, right? If things look like garbage down there and you think it's going to continue to dump, maybe take another take profit and leave a small portion in the trade in case that winner winds up running and you wind up getting the dump down to 70K or something. But that's the beautiful thing, right? When you take profits and move your stop loss to break even, you can lock in profits, right? One of the hardest things about locking in profits is like you feel like you're taking opportunity for more money off the table. But this is not the case, right? Because you could take partial profit, lock in some of the money, and then still leave the opportunity to make more money if price continues in your direction. But you have to pay yourself when you're in the green, because if you don't, you're going to wind up round-tripping trades, and I know how that feels. Trust me, I've round-tripped my fair share of trades. And I guess now I'm just in my phase of accidentally closing early a lot of times. But that's okay, right? Still making money. But yeah, you just got to take multiple take profits is okay. Move that stop loss to break even, and you can kind of still feel like you're open to more opportunity while still protecting yourself and locking in profits. Let's see. A spot altcoin portfolio round trips. Yeah, that's I think a lot of people are in that situation. I should have sold a couple of weeks ago. I feel sick right now. Shout out to Magma. Yeah, I'm in the same camp, bro. A lot of my alts are down bad as well. So don't worry, you're not riding it alone, brother. I know the pain. Shout out to Raphael, says, what do you take into account to place the volume profile? Shout out to Raphael. I have a free beginner series that has full tutorials on how I use the volume profiles. Go check that out. Basically, this channel is a free trading course. You got to piece together the parts, but the beginner series is a great place to start, right? It's kind of like all the stuff you need to learn to at least be up to speed with what we talk about here on the live stream. So yeah. Let's see. So we're going to take a look at some of the altcoins. Shout out to Hade Trader. What is going on? Said, should I DCA more into altcoins as they dip? I actually do want to take a look at Bitcoin dominance with you guys really quickly. Kind of talk about that. Situation. Yeah, we'll take a look at it in just a second. Let's see. Shout out to Mikey. Said, I called Solana at $17. Shout out to Mikey. Shout out to you, bro. I hope you bought a ton of it. You're up massively. My average buy-in price for Solana, I believe, is like it's either 20 or 30 bucks. I DCA'd. As I did not believe that it was just going to stay at 0. So I did, when it started going to 0. Actually, funny story, right? I started DCAing into Solana, started here, I believe, right? Literally right before the drop, right? So Frankie Candles doesn't bottom tick every buy, right? And this is the reality of everybody's situation. Nobody bottom ticks the bottom every single time, right? There is an element to luck that comes in there, right? But I literally dollar cost averaged in here, arguably not at the worst time, right? But arguably, frustratingly, right before that massive drop to the downside. I continued to DCA down here, and I also bought a bunch of pre-leveraged tokens, the 3x pre-leveraged tokens down here, and low key, right? It was rough down here. We had some high time frame bull divs when I bought those, but that just happened to be the bottom, right? So I made a bunch of money on the way back up there as well. But I think my spot bag average on Solana is it's either 20 or 30 bucks. I have to look at it. But yeah, a lot of people thought this was going to 0. We have a video on the channel talking about how they were building in the bear market, and I did not think it was going to 0. But again, we could have been wrong too. We just happened to be right in that case. But yeah, let's see. I was waiting for $5 Solana and never happened. Ended up buying at 120. Shout out to Codon. Listen, bro, don't beat yourself up, man. Trust me. I have anytime you make a decision that you consider bad in the market, just understand, guys. Everybody has done this. Anyone you watch, everybody has gone through this, right? I've bought tops before. I've round trip bags before. I've round trip trades. I've gotten liquidated, right? It's you all have to go through this. It's part of the learning process, and I think that's why there's such a low success rate, especially with trading, right? It's because it's so frustrating, right? Because you're dealing with emotions. You're fighting your own brain. It's the hardest thing to battle against, right? Because you can make a mistake and you can feel the pain, and then you get that FOMO again, and it's so hard to fight, right? You're literally fighting a lot of people's worst enemy. I know for me personally, my worst enemy is my brain, right? And I think a lot of people could probably relate to that, right? So yeah, it's just don't feel alone, bro. You're not alone. Soul was a missed opportunity for many at $8. Yeah. I wish I bought it all at $8. That would be so fire. Round trip, so much fun. Yeah. Totally. And I know there's a lot of pain out there in the altcoin market, especially this cycle. It's oh my God, it's brutal. But speaking of the altcoins, guys, let's go ahead and take a look, hop over to Bitcoin dominance real quick. Let's see here. So actually, let me pull it up over here. Bada boom, right? So here is our dreaded Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, as you guys know, I try to keep the Mafia as safe as possible. As you guys know, I was not really interested in, I don't know really what it is, right? And there's a lot of people that look at a lot of metrics that I don't personally look at. You can only look at so much stuff, right? But it just seems that every other day or every time we pump, everyone's calling for alt season. And for me personally, the way I handle it is if we get a pump or something like that, really the dominance is obviously what you want to watch. And for me personally, right, very vocal on this live stream about how I am not interested in buying dips on altcoins, saying I want to hit on. Actually, the other day I said I was starting to think about potentially dipping my toes into buying some alts, not buying my whole bag, right, just slowly buying a little bit at a time, right? Because at the end of the day, the charts can help you get the best, scenario, it'll give you the best chance of making an educated guess, but at the end of the day, right, the charts are wrong sometimes too, so you never just want to try to dump your whole bag in at one spot. This is what a lot of people try to do, and it's really, really dangerous, and it just adds a ton of stress to your investing, right? When you dollar cost average and you buy and then it dumps, you see it more of an opportunity, right? So your emotions aren't man, I bought the top, should I sell and then buy back lower? It's just okay, cool, let it drop, buy a little bit more, and you could even wait on the way down, right? You can buy for whatever it is, right? You'd have to think of this yourself, right? But 5% on the first dip, and then if it dips again, you go 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, right? So you're getting heavier and heavier as price dips down, lowering your average entry, average cost basis, right? Your average entry. So, but for me personally, right, really just wanting to sit on my hands and just let the Bitcoin dominance play out, right, until we lost this golden pocket / value area low, unless we were to break down below this golden pocket, right, or approach another key level of resistance, I'm not that interested in altcoins, right? Because if this is we have a volume profile here, guys. Now, I know there's probably people out there that would argue you can't use volume profiles on something like dominance, but it does play out. Look at that reaction on our POC. So we are starting to get back above this golden pocket and push to the upside. If we were to push back up to this POC at 64 64.25%, guys. Until we come up to some serious resistance on Bitcoin dominance, or we start breaking down out of this range, right? There's no guarantee we come up to the POC. Maybe you reject more of a local level, right? We could even pull this Fibonacci retracement, and you can see that's the golden pocket we're hitting. So you could even maybe look at this as some kind of a key level of resistance. But when we're inside this volume profile, right, it doesn't guarantee that we have to fill this whole profile in full, right? If we treated this as a traditional profile, we'd be saying, hey, this looks bullish AF, right? Looking to go to the POC, flip the POC, and then come up to the value area high. I'm not necessarily anticipating that, but we have to have the levels there in case we do just get spikes up on Bitcoin dominance, right? But we are hitting some kind of resistance here. Are we going to be able to reject? It's hard to say, right? But if we get above that 786, guys, this POC at 64.25% is really the next key area of interest, right? Maybe this is kind of like, all right, let me start taking a look at some of the alts, right? Because in case we do, nuke down from here. But really the key levels remain the same, right? POC, we are working our way up. So we were, I'm glad that I was not interested in I don't know. February, everybody just thought it was going to be alt season. I don't really know. I guess it's just based off history, which isn't a bad thing. But, for me personally, I need to see that key level lost, right? And where are we? We're getting that pushback up towards these key levels of resistance. So we are hitting some resistance on Bitcoin dominance. Hopefully we can get a little rejection here, at least get some kind of a rally on altcoins. And then hopefully, in hindsight, it winds up being the big rejection, right? But if it's not, and we get above this 786, this is the next big level that I'd be paying attention to, right? So piquing my interest here, right? But then I'm really focusing if we come up to that POC. But hopefully we don't have to do that, right? So just kind of giving an update on that because we have seen Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance. Last time we looked at it was over here, right? We kind of just ranged around. Now we're getting back up here and starting to move up. So it is definitely worth taking a look at here. Take a look at the weekly as well. Yeah, you have the green dot confirmed, 6-day or 5-day green dot confirmed. Yeah, maybe we could put in some high time frame bear divs here and just get this thing to nuke out of the range. But we got to get out of this range, guys. If we don't get out of this range, right? And again, I talk about this a lot. Last time we were interested in altcoins was when we came up to this level, right? Which is key resistance. This is key resistance until proven otherwise, right? So when you get that big dump, it's like, hey, guys, we're hitting a key level. If we wind up getting the dump, we might see some of the altcoins pump. And we indeed did see that, right? But then we come up again and start breaking above the value area low. That's not bearish, right? That is more bullish than anything. So different situation. Up here, very interested. Why? Because we were approaching major resistance. Am I interested here? No, not really, because we are potentially looking to flip that value area low to support, right? So where would I be interested again? Similar to how I was interested here as we were approaching resistance. I will be interested, maybe a little bit on the Fibonacci level. This is be a local level in my opinion. But if we start pushing up towards that POC, that's where I'm like, hey guys, another big resistance level. Let's start looking at some altcoins. But hopefully, for the sake of our altcoin bags, guys, hopefully for the love of God, we could just nuke down from that golden pocket. But we'll have to see how the chart plays out. But I did just want to bring that up, right? Because we are flipping that value area low. We've been looking at this level for a while. For me, we get up here. I'm sitting out for now. And then, until we get to these bigger key levels, that's when I'm really interested. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Yo, shout out to Dave. Shout out to Dutch. Says Dave Digital invested in tools, specifically his blue wrench during the bear market. Shout out to Dave Digital. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Undo. Says, I know everyone has a different outlook and every situation is different, but based on TP levels where you're in a long from the value area low to POC, what's the percentage you'll close out and hold to the value area high? So yeah, shout out to Undo. You kind of answered the question, right? There is a decent bit of preference in there, right? A lot of times it also is very situational, right? If I feel really good, right? For example, let's say I got in below a volume profile, which is a very common situation, right? You deviate below the low, you catch some support, and then you look to get that fulfill your range if you could reclaim value area low. So let's say I got in down here, let's just say I got into a long down here, right? Say price comes down, right? We don't get any bullish confirmations here. We just reject. We come into the long setup, right? We get the confirmations. We take the long, right? At this point, right, you're below the volume profile. And like I just showed on Bitcoin dominance, the value area low when you're below is resistance until proven otherwise. You only have to look as far as our upper range here to understand the importance of looking at your value areas like that, right? So if I pull up this upper range, you can see that value area low, you dip down below. Sure, this was a beautiful long position, right? But once you come up to that value area low, you actually did break out here, right? So, or break in. So it's not the perfect example, but actually maybe that value area low was a little bit higher at the time. So maybe I'm not giving the volume profiles enough credit here. Yeah, like once you come up to that value area low, it is going to be resistance until proven otherwise, because you need to get accepted back into the range and hold the value area low as support. But in here, you faked out. This was very volatile. You faked out, you came back down, and then you came for another test, bearish rejection, and then you get the continuation down. So you have to look at it as resistance until proven otherwise. And the reason I say that is because if you come back over here, right, when you're in below the value area low, right, if that moved to the value area low, in this case 2%, that might be a situation where you want to lock in some profit. But it's always going to be situational, right? Like whether you want to, if you're long from the value area low, say, right, and you want to take that move to the POC and the value area high, it's really very tied to preference, right? Like maybe you just want to take 50% here, move your stop loss to break even. If you lose the range, you get your 50% profit. If it continues back up, you could take another 50% here, right? And then just close the full trade as a full volume profile trade, because that's absolutely beautiful. You can make a ton of money like that. But you leave the opportunity, if this thing breaks out, you're not going to be able to hold a position, which is totally fine. Like I said, you can't catch every single trade, right? If you try to catch every single trade, I promise you this is going to be a big thing you battle with when you start learning how to trade. You're going to want to catch every single move. You're going to start seeing a little pump on the 3 minute and be like, oh my God, should I get in? Am I going to miss the move? You cannot do that. You are chasing money if you do that, and you will never pocket any of that profit if you start doing that, right? You're just going to wind up taking low probability trades. So you have to, like, one of the big skills that is not talked about in trading is being able to let price move without chasing it, right? I guess people talk about chasing trades a lot, but it's like one of the biggest emotions that I struggled with a lot, right? It's okay to let price come up, right? And I said it 3 times today. I had to let this whole thing go up, right? And again, we took the scalps, but and this is something that we waited for so long. I had the setup. This was my setup in the Discord. And it presents, and other people take the trade, and I just wasn't there to get it, right? So, like, that's a painful situation psychologically, right? You're just like, oh, my God, look at all this profit I could have made, but it's totally fine. You can't chase, right? Just wait for the next trade, and we did absolutely make a killing on this dump. So, so it is very, very situational, right? You could get in at the low, 50% at the POC, close the trade in full at the value area high. That is the idea of the trade, right? But once you get to the value area high, right, depending on the setup, you might come up to the POC and be like, I don't really like it. Like this looks like we're probably going to reject a local Fibonacci level, right? This looks like we're going to reject this golden pocket for a continuation of the trend, right? So that's why context is king. If you have like high time frame money flow coming out or something, and you're anticipating the overall larger trend to continue down, maybe you just look at that as a scalp to the POC, in which case you might want to take all your profit, or maybe 80% profit, leave 20% for the shot to the upside. But traditionally for me, I would either, say half at the POC, the rest at the value area high, or maybe you take 30% at the POC, maybe 30% at the value area high, and then you let the rest ride for a bigger breakout. But again, you're not just always going to want to do that, right? If you come up here, you have massive bearish confirmations, you're looking for a bigger move down, maybe you just want to close the trade in full. So it really depends. For me personally, I flip-flop around it. It really depends on the situation for me, but 50 and 50, or maybe 30-30, let the rest run. Whether you're coming up or down, same thing, obviously. So yeah, that's kind of how hopefully that helps you out. I don't know if I fully answered your question, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. Shout out to Captain Kirk, the CandleMafia mama in the chat said, hey fam, good morning. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Or Sergeant Kirk. We like to call her Sergeant Kirk. Let's see. I believe Sol is going to, below 110 soon. So yeah, let's talk about that real quick, guys. So we're going to jump into some of the altcoins. Rob, let's do like let's do 3 requests. I'm going to go through Solana, Ethereum, and then we'll do like some requests. Shout out to Nightly. Not taking a trade is a trade. Sometimes, I heard this from our friend Tom Crown. Shout out to Tom Crown, guys. Go check him out if you have not. I'm sure a lot of you guys know Tom Crown, but if you don't, go check him out. He makes amazing content. But he's actually, I think, I don't know if he was the first person to say this, but he always says, like, sometimes no trade is the best trade, right? Sometimes the best trade is just no trade, and that's totally fine, right? Again, there are so many opportunities on these charts, guys. Even if I missed this long and missed the short, which obviously didn't happen. But if I did, right, I could have caught the little scalp long that we took, right? Like, there's always another opportunity. As soon as you start chasing, think about chasing shorts. Somebody told me, or a few people, right? We put a poll in the chat, and a lot of people were telling me, take profit, Frankie, take profit, which I obviously tried to do after I ended the stream and then closed the whole dang trade. But a lot of people were like, hey, man, like, just re-enter it. That's a dangerous thing, right? At that point, right, I made a little over $10,000, and it's like, you got to be able to walk away with your profit and call it a win, right? And this is why I always say sometimes you have to give yourself a reality check. And whether it's $10,000, $5,000, $1,000, $7, $3, $2, everyone's in a different situation, right? So it doesn't matter. And when it comes to trading, it really doesn't matter the amount of money, right? You know, someone's $100,000 profit could be $1 profit for a smaller account, right? It's the percentages that mean something, right? Not the dollar amount, right? You're not going to make $10,000 on a move down on like this on a $50 account, right? That's just not how it works, right? You need that capital to build up the position size, even with leverage, right? But a lot of people were saying just re-enter the position, right? Which I obviously didn't. But what I did do was I saw some local confirmations to catch a little scalp long, right? And that really didn't have anything to do with me closing the trade early and me wanting more money at all, right? But what it does show is that if you just get that emotional reaction and you say, let me just reopen the trade, what are you doing? You are chasing extra profit, which you can never do. If you chase money, it will run away from you. I promise. Trust me, I've chased my fair amount of money, and that money always ran away from me, right? But it just goes to show, if you just FOMO'd in short here, right? I always talk about this. You do not chase shorts after price gets a big dump. It doesn't mean that you're not going to continue down, but that also doesn't mean that is the best time to short, right? This is where a lot of retail will short to get wrecked on a retracement, right? So what happens? I actually take the long position, even though I anticipated a move to the value area low. I was upset closing that whole position here because I knew that there was a high probability because we lost the POC. We know based off the volume profiles, the next highest probability area for price to go is the value area low. That was our thought process, right? But I said, hey, I'm not just going to short here, right? Take profit on the short. We caught a little scalp long, and we know once you can't get back above that POC, you continue down, right? So not chasing that, not chasing after the big dump is very important. Again, even if you continue down, you might say, well, if you chased it here, you would have gotten that extra profit, right? But you can't trade like that. That is not the entry, right? The entry would be on a retracement level, right? On where you're likely to put in lower highs and lower lows. On your golden pocket, 786 retracement. Where did this lower high come in at, guys? It came right in on that golden pocket. If it pushed up to the 786 POC, that would have honestly been even more technical, right? Fill that full Fibonacci retracement, reject the POC, you can't get back above, and then you continue down, right? So I was right knowing that we were going to come down here, but did I chase it after a big dump? Absolutely not. I actually did the opposite. I longed it, and I won that trade. I got stopped out, but I got stopped out in profit, right? So it just goes to show you can't, am I mad because we came back down here? No, I'm actually kind of excited because the TA was right? But it just, you can't chase those moves. It's very, very, very important to realize. And that was a kind of a great live example. Like no way, like that's kind of why, no way am I going to re-enter that trade, right? I've already made a bunch of money. Even if I think it's going down, it doesn't mean it's the best next move, right? A lot of people say, hey, Frankie, if you thought you were going to bounce here, why don't you just long it, right? Because at the end of the day, we have liquidity sitting down below, some untapped levels, no real strong higher time frame confirmations. Sure, we could come up here, but am I upset that I missed that move? Absolutely not, right? Because at the end of the day, maybe we don't get that move, and then oftentimes what will happen is you will get the level that you're looking for tapped, and you'll take that long, get stopped out, and then the long that you would have taken or wanted to take originally is going to be the one that sets up. And if it goes and it gives you the big move, you let it go, right? Because you'll just catch that next move. Perfect example yesterday. And I hope showing this stuff live helps you guys understand and like see how I handle this stuff in real time, right? So yeah, but let's take a real quick look at let's see. Shout out to Adriano, said this guy is one of the best crypto trading channels. He has a majority of calls being on the money, especially when calling tops. He won't shill bullish FOMO vibes. A realist. Yeah, shout out to Adriano. Listen, my job here is I'm a trader, right? Shout out to Adrian. I appreciate you saying that, bro. I'm not going to lie. I started reading that. I was like, oh, God, here we go. I just like ran into a hate comment, but it's the opposite. Shout out to Adrian. Like the reason I'm like this is because I'm a trader, right? I don't rely on just making FOMO bullish titles to get like, when we're bullish, we'll make like not FOMO, but we'll make clickbaity bullish titles if I feel bullish, right? Like even recently, before we came up to fill our whole volume profile, right? The thumbnail was 88K next. Right? And I don't say this to brag, because it's not even me, right? I guess it's me because I'm the one doing the TA. But I just knew we had the value area high here, and I know there was a higher probability than any that we're going to fill that profile in full. And what happens? I think we were looking at it right here, right? 88K next ? We're above the POC. Why did I say 88K next? Right? Like, oh my God, Frankie, how did you know that? Right? Well, I knew if we held above this POC, we were very likely coming into that value area high, right? It's just the TA. I know we do maybe have some kind of a crystal ball. It's just a toy. It takes AAA batteries. It's not a real crystal ball, but it's just the TA here, right? And, I can't, for the love of God, right? Like, this is where everybody usually gets FOMO bullish, right? But, like, if I know we're coming to key resistance and I'm looking for shorts here, I'm a trader. It doesn't mean that you couldn't have caught the short and then we break off to massive higher prices. And then maybe the FOMO bulls over time, right, they're eventually going to be right, which is fine. And maybe they're right immediately, and that's great too. But for me as a trader, right, if I see that we're going to get a rejection, and this is one of the hardest jobs as a YouTuber, is a lot of times people say, Frankie, are you bullish or bearish? When you ask a trader if he's bullish or bearish, it is a sticky situation, right? Because, like, yesterday, I was bearish on the continuation down to the value area low, but I took a long, right? So people are like, this guy's bearish. Why is he longing? It's because the context was just to look at that as a scalp before eventually putting in the lower high and continuing down, right? So, I'll never I am only here to give you the raw information on the charts. If I think it's going to 50K, I have no choice but to come up here and say that, right? Just because that's how I trade. But I do want Bitcoin to go up more than anything. So just keep that in mind. I am always a crypto bull at heart. But hey, when you can make money on those dumps, that's the thing too, right? Actually, yesterday, funny enough, we had someone in here that got a little upset because I guess I don't really know why they were upset because I was happy. Crazy how someone could be upset at someone for being happy, but they were upset, right? Because I was like just in a good mood as price was dumping. And, that's the hard thing, right? It's like when you start looking at the charts as a trader and you can make money when price goes down, why wouldn't you be happy, right? Because, like, I see these dumps as opportunities, right? Now, sure, I don't want Bitcoin to go down again, but when you see this as just another opportunity, it kind of takes the emotion out of things, guys. I hold my spot bags, right? I've been holding my spot bags. I bought in the bear market. I'm holding my spot bag, Bitcoin, right? That's great, right? I'm in profit. That's awesome. Great, right? And I don't want it to go down, right? Like, even if I were looking to short here and we got a mega candle down here, I don't want that to happen. I hold spot Bitcoin, but, like, that doesn't mean I can't locally be excited about that dump down because I'm making money, right? And then maybe you could use that money to buy the dip or something. I don't think this person was meant any hate or anything like that. They were respectful. They were just like, I'm unsubbing because you're happy, and Bitcoin and crypto's dumping. And it's like, I mean, it just is what it is, right? Like, we make money when price goes down, and that's why I like it, right? Like, why not? Like, I don't know. Like, bull markets are great, but, like, if you can make money when price goes down, why wouldn't you just double your opportunities? But yeah, I understand it's like, it's very time consuming. You have to do the TA. You have to actually take the time to learn how to trade, go through your trading journey, which is oftentimes, a long, difficult process, right? But it's the most rewarding thing in the world, right? But anyway, shout out to Darren, said your short and your chair caused the bear market. Frankie, I'm unsubscribing. Shout out to Darren. But anyway, let's take a look at Ethereum real quick, and then we'll jump into Solana, and we will take a look at... Thank you, Rob. I got your alt list. I'm sure that was the 15th time you shielded, but I got you, brother. Thank you for that. Let's see. Smash that like button, by the way, guys. If we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream, we're giving away 3 of these Frankie Candles hats. I can't tell you what color they'll be. Black, white, pink, blue, purple. I don't know. We got a bunch of colors, but I think they all go out of the same color. So if we get 1,000 likes, we'll give away 3 Frankie Candles hats on tomorrow's live stream. But let's go ahead. Trying to pin this. Rob, I always almost ban you. Imagine how I'd be so sad. Not hide user on this channel. Replace pinned comment. I'm always looking for the pinned. It's replace pin. Okay, so there we go. HBAR, Doge, Litecoin, and real quick, let's take a look at Ethereum. Now, as you guys know, when we looked at Ethereum, or as we've been looking at Ethereum for quite some time, what do we look at, right? More recently, we were looking as we were stuck below this POC. We had some money flow coming to the upside. You can see our 15-minute, let me close this, our 15-minute money flow. Where is it? 15-minute money flow crosses over into the green in a company or in confluence with our 4-hour green dot. That gives us the anticipation similarly to right now that we have potentially setting up on Bitcoin. Doesn't mean you can't pull back, right? But that is what you're going to be looking at for higher lows and higher highs, right? We had key resistance above. If we broke above that POC and held it as support, we were going to look to go where? Back up to the value area high. But this is really your key level of resistance, right? Because sure, you could get the move above the POC and get the move into the value area high. You front ran it here. Oh my God, we're dumping now. Did we front run it? And look what happens, right? Bing. You got to touch that value area high for whatever reason, right? It acts as a magnet for price. And sometimes you'll get faked out, but this is why, again, I like to wait for the higher time frame, or not even higher time frame, but the bigger key levels, right? Like, sure, you could have caught a short here. That would have been beautiful, right? But what happens? You do come back up, and you just get a push into your bigger key level. And this is the major level that we need to get out of, right? For Ethereum, 1940. 1942 to be exact, 1941.5. That's the level we got to get above in order to begin our journey back up to our larger profile and then flip our real doorway to higher prices, the big key level to support in order to see Ethereum really rip and roar like we want to see it happen, like we want to see, right? But until then, POC's key resistance, flip that, value area high key resistance, back below the value area high, back below the value area high, back below the POC, and now we're sitting here once again below that point of control. Which brings up our next levels here, guys. Very similarly to back here, if we get some setups here to push us back to the upside, that's nice, right? But we would just look at the POC as the next level and the value area high is the next level. And then maybe we start to form a little bit of our own little mini volume profile in here, right? And we could start to trade that. But if on a higher time frame, we do not scoot out of here sooner than later and things are going to continue dumping, the next key levels I'm looking at, guys, value area low sitting at $1,641. Again, not that you can't take these little longs locally, right? But for me, a bigger swing level, in my own personal opinion, would be down here at that value area low. No guarantees we get down there, but 1644 value area low, it is there. If we get the move down there, we could look for a potential volume profile trade. Now, just below that, whether we get the confirmations down here, we'd have to assess the situation as we approach, right? But if we lose this, next key level below 1644 is going to be sitting between 1557 or 1572 all the way down to the daily at about 1540. This is kind of like a large, you could kind of combine these, right? This is kind of like a large major area of support for Ethereum, in my own personal opinion, in the way that I look at the charts. And we are right more often than we're wrong, right? We're not never wrong, but we are right more often than we're wrong. And like I just said, those volume profile levels do like to get slapped, right? And we just didn't want to break out here, unfortunately. Now we're back below the POC. We can't get back above here. Very naturally, we have to anticipate the value area low and potentially just below that, right? I do not want to see that, guys. I hold a lot of Ethereum. Listen, I don't want this. But that's could be where we're headed if we don't see things start to shape up, right? 2-day money flow still pretty deep in the red. The one thing here is if we could get this 2-day bull div, right? The last time we got a significant retracement was on this 2-day bullish divergence. We had, lower lows on our price action, right? Higher lows on our momentum waves, and you get the next little retracement. But what is money flow doing? It's crossing into the red. So what do you anticipate? Lackluster retracements, lower highs, and lower lows, which we have done, right? So just in that context, right? Maybe that 2-day bull div is the next time we get a bigger retracement, and hopefully we can work our way out. But if not, with that money flow in the red, we could potentially anticipate more lower highs and lower lows. And if that is the case, be aware of this big key level. Hopefully we don't see it, but it is definitely worth having marked on your chart, right? Because if we get the big dump out of nowhere, it might just be like, oh my God, what's happening, right? You want to be able to see that floor where you should be looking for a bounce. So there you go. That's what I'm looking at on Ethereum. Let's see here. Yeah, weekly green dot also looking to print. And, very similarly here, guys, obviously Ethereum's had a massive move down. Obviously, Bitcoin, although has been chopping around a good bit, we have gotten a massive drop to the downside. So, once we get these weekly green dots, maybe that's where we see that bigger retracement that we've been talking about forever, right? Where we have the golden pocket 786 that we just came down to, right? This is an area to potentially look for higher lows, for either higher highs to continue, right? Or to potentially come up for a bigger retracement and then, maybe come up here towards that $87,000 golden pocket to put in potential lower highs if we are indeed going to continue a massive downtrend, right? Weekly money flow still coming to the downside on Bitcoin. This is honestly, in my opinion, not the best look, right? But if we get that green dot, maybe we get the bigger retracement that we're looking for. And again, all those bigger key levels remain exactly the same. We've covered these a million times on the channel, but there's a lot of confluence in this like 96 to 97K zone, but that's obviously assuming we could break above the $91,000 value area low. We have a ton of levels to look at before that, but I'm just saying, right? Weekly green dots are typically where you see big retracements, right? And we are just kind of chopping around here. Hopefully we could hold these lows and just get that bigger retracement from here. But if not, maybe we want to go for that next little dump to the downside before we get the bigger retracement. Same thing on Ethereum, right? Are we going to put in, right, a 2-day bull div and like kind of hold the levels that we're at right now, right? Put in a nice little 2-day bull div and then get the bigger retracement from here, which again, hopefully is just not a retracement and a push to higher highs. But until money flow comes back up on the higher time frames, we have to view it as lower highs and lower lows. So the question is the bigger retracement going to come in here, right? Hopefully we can get the green dots on the weekly sooner than later, and that will be the big signal that I'd be looking at for the bigger continuation up, right? And the bigger retracement, right? Bigger continuation up. However, it is going to be looked at as a retracement, right? Not necessarily all-time highs just yet. But That weekly green dot is likely what will do it for us, right? If that weekly green dot doesn't print, maybe we do get the push down to the bigger levels, guys. We don't need to know exactly where that's going to come in. All we can do is wait for the key levels to get hit and then look for the signs, right? Look for those entry signals. And even if you're not trading, right, you're just looking to buy spot bags, look for those bigger high time frame confluences to maybe start nibbling at some DCA spot buys. So yeah, other than that, those are the key levels on Ethereum. Value area high sitting at 1942, POC 1851, and then the value area low at about 1644. And then again, lower end of that 786. And let me just see where this golden pocket is as well. Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, right, you look at this and you say to yourself, right, this is our larger golden pocket retracement, guys. This is from the bottom of the bear market all the way to the high here. So we would have hoped, right? And I'm not going to lie, this was big support. Macro golden pocket, macro value area low of the bull market range. So much confluence in here. And we just melted right through it, right? We got a little bounce, right? Very unlikely you get like no bounce. You got a little bit of a bounce, but once you lose that golden pocket, where are you going to be expecting price to go next within the Fibonacci kind of theory, right? You're going to look to come on down towards that 786. So again, doesn't guarantee you come down there, but it would not be unlikely in my own personal opinion, right? Especially with that key, with the confluence we have down there and the laws of the volume profile, right? We're just back within our value area here. Once you get rejected below that value area high, right, we kind of broke out again here. But now we're just back in here. So the doorway could be open to down there, right? So that's what I'm looking at, right? I'm not in any trades on Ethereum or anything like that. So watch that 2-day bull div and watch that weekly green dot. But those are my thoughts on Ethereum. Now, real quick, I do want to jump into Solana. Let's take a look at our Solana chart here. And again, you know, on Solana, you needed to hold above, number one, your value area low. Number two, you had your golden pocket very confluent with that value area low. We came down. We tried to hold it, and then we lost it where we had our next key level sitting here, 786. Once you lose the golden pocket, you're expecting to at least go down to that 786 daily. If we can't reclaim this level, guys, I'm not going to lie. This is kind of like the big barrier. We have doorways to higher prices, we have doorways to lower prices, and we have locked doors that if not opened, opening up the door to more downside, right? So if we come back up here and we retest this 786 and we can't hop back on top of that daily and send it, and we get stuck under here, the next key level, in my opinion, is going to be sitting at about $108 to $101 near our value area high and our POC of the previous range. These levels are exactly the same as what we've been looking at. And yeah, I mean, I wish we could try to see, like, did we come on down to any significant naked points of controls? Let's see here. You know, do we have any daily nakeds down here? Yeah, you have no... Yeah, it's not going to go back in time far enough. And I don't think this is going to work in bar replay mode either. Oh, it did. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we don't have anything, right? Let's check the weekly. No daily naked points of controls. Let me check the weekly real quick. No weeklies. You have a monthly naked point of control would be really nice down there. Come on, man. Where is this? That's wow. Yikes. Yeah, so we don't have any naked points of controls down there, unfortunately. I'm just trying to find some key levels, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, it comes down to confluent key levels for me and confirmations. And, like, I'm trying to find a reason here to say that, like, hey, you know, 4-hour bull div, lower lows, higher lows, although that alone is, you know, a decent opportunity to get a bigger move up. You know, I really like to see that come in at a significant key level, which we really don't have here, right? That daily was our last key level. So we can't reclaim that daily. I would say this, 4-hour green dot with the bull div here, money flow still continuing to the downside. So again, it's wouldn't necessarily expect it to be a moonshot. You know, with 4-hour money flow, you could look for lower highs and lower lows, in which case this daily here, /786 zone is going to be key. Maybe that 4-hour bull div gives you the push up. You could flip that to support and then begin your journey up to the value area low at $126. Is that confluent? Is that confluent with our golden pocket? I'm looking for golden pocket, value area low confluence here. Perfect. So there we go, right? So these would be like the next levels. If you can flip, I'm going to turn this purple because this is resistance, right? If you could flip this daily and 786 to support, you might be able to make your move back up towards your bigger golden pocket 786 retracement, right? And this would probably be a better case for Bitcoin as well, right? This would probably, if we can get that retracement, flip this level, push into the value area low, that is very likely, Bitcoin pushing into, the POC and maybe some of the higher retracement levels we have in here. So that would be nice to see that rotation from the value area low into the POC, maybe push up towards the larger profile value area high. But for Solana, obviously, the next key level to the upside would be, get above this level, must flip, right? Must flip this, right? Flip that, look for the move up into the golden pocket, flip that golden pocket, you can look for a move into the 786. And honestly, this anchored VWAP is probably going to be confluent with that golden pocket at the time, depending on how fast we come up as well. So that's what I would look for. Watch that 4-hour bull div. Again, not the most beautiful setup. You don't have money flow agreeing with you. Money flow still looking for lower highs and lower lows. And if you are going to see this bull div give you a retracement to the upside for a lower high and a lower low, this golden pocket 786 might be the place to do it if you don't give it, if you don't put it in at this daily, right? So maybe we see something like that happen on Solana, and that's pretty much what I would look for. Lower level between $108,000 and $101,000. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Let's see. We trade level to level, fam. Shout out to Gordon. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, right? Like, oh my God, but what if it pumps up here? Like, should I long it? I mean, you can if you want, right? At the end of the day, we're all adults. We can do what we want. But me personally, right? Let it happen, right? If you miss the long, you can look for the short. If there's no short, let it come up. Look for another short or wait for a retracement for a long. But for me personally, big resistance, big resistance. 4-hour bull div could bring you up, but you got to flip this. And then even if you do, lower highs could be expected unless that money flow flips up in a big way. So yeah, that's what I would be looking at on Solana. Hopefully we could just, once you get back above that 786, maybe you could continue up through your larger profile. Let me get rid of some of these levels because these are old. Get rid of that. Get rid of all this as well. Bada boom. Time to clean up some of these charts here as we've nuked down so far. Some of them are irrelevant at this point. Whoops. Just clean this up slightly. Whoops. So yeah, there you go. That's what I'd be looking at for Solanzo. I just wish, if this was like a massive monthly level or something and we had a 4-hour bull div or, higher time frame bull divs, same thing as Ethereum, right? Solana potentially putting in a 2-day bullish divergence, which honestly, guys, a lot of the time is a very, very bullish sign for altcoins. However, again, I just wish it was coming in at a key level. Right? It's just like there's not really anything super, super significant down here unless you extend your profile. But this would be, even that, you're below your profile. I just wish there was something down here. If this was like a 4-hour or 2-day bull div into a key level of support as you deviate below the profile, that would be much better for a big continuation up if money flow was pointing in the right direction. But we're kind of just floating here. So yeah, but that's what I look at on Solanzo. Let's see. Yo, shout out to NWOs. Frankie, you're taking it too personally. Just launch a Bada Boom coin and already, and rug pull the unsubscribers. Yo, shout out to NWO. I know you're joking. I would never, ever, ever, ever in my life start a meme coin. And in some weird reality, if I ever did, I would never rug pull it. I probably would just never, I just would never do it. There's just no way, right? Because I feel like even if you have a meme coin, and like, I'm sure there are maybe, if there's anyone out there with any kind of morals nowadays, right? Like, even if someone did launch a meme coin and not rug it, I feel like most people are probably just going to assume they're rugging it anyway. So it's just like a bad look. It's just something I'm like not willing to put my reputation on the line for like a quick money grab. Even if you don't rug pull it, right? Maybe it pumps and you're able to make money without dumping it. It's like, it's just not worth damaging a reputation to make a quick bag, right? Like we make our quick bags on the charts. We don't need to make meme coins. But yeah, shout out to NWO. You're funny, bro. Let's see. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Have a great night. I love you, fam. It's that time. I got to go to work. Only Monday and Tuesday left. Then I get a 16-day vacay. Yo, shout out to Captain Kirk. Let's go. Shout out to Cap. Have a great night and be safe. So yeah, let's take a quick look at, we took a look at Ethereum. We took a look at Solana. Let's take a look at XRP, and then we'll jump into HBAR, Doge, and Litecoin. Tales of Mystery said, hey, Frankie, as you got a lot on your plate, might want to hire Mrs. Candles to open and close your trades to avoid error. Shout out to Tales of Mystery. I don't know if that would avoid error or cause more error. Like, oh, sorry, Frankie, you actually only made $5 on that short. I don't know what happened. I closed it. It said $5 profit. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. She already gets everything anyway, so I guess it doesn't even matter. Shout out to Tales of Mystery. Yo, shout out to Bad Dog. He said, I'm in a so long, feel like Lloyd Christmas. So you're saying there's a chance. Shout out to you, brother. Okay, so let's take a quick look at XRP here. Okay. So yeah, XRP now rejected. Yeah, now rejected out of our volume profile. We came down, right? And again, this XRP volume profile is played up very nicely, right? Deviation below the low, flip the low, back to the POC, back to the value area high, reject the high, back to the POC, lose the POC, back to the low. We now are deviating below the value area low. Should we long it back in for a massive move up? Let's see. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. So you do actually have some 4 hour bull divs here into your daily. This money flow not looking as pretty. Why can't I draw this? There we go. And again, as Bitcoin looks like it may get a little bit of a push up here locally, maybe XRP and some of the altcoins follow, right? We have the bull divs forming on the 4 hour on Solana, on things like XRP as well. And this is actually kind of what I would have liked to see on Solana, right? Nice 4 hour bullish divergences. Again, money flow is coming out, but that could change over time. But at least you're putting that div in at a key level of support, which is that daily, right? So for me personally, would I be expecting like a full fill of the volume profile? Well, when you look at things like the 2-day time frame, right? Money flow, remember money flow indicates the longer term trend here, guys. So money flow crosses into the red, you would anticipate lower highs and lower lows. So would I look at that as a long to fill the entire profile? Could it happen? Sure. But you really want that money flow to be crossing over into the green. I say this all the time. You literally would want this to look the opposite. You would want a big red wave looking to cross over into the green for a massive move up. But locally, with that 4 hour bull div, chances are, especially if you could put it in here at that key level, which is the daily. Do we have a weekly there as well, maybe? Not quite. Unfortunate. Let me check the daily naked points of controls real quick. Yeah, you got no daily nakeds. Let's check the weekly. No weekly. Yikes. And no monthly. All right. Well, I tried. Yeah, at least you have the daily, right? It's a little better than Solana, right? Solana doesn't even have the daily down there. Solana's already lost the daily. So again, money flow, not really that beautiful, but I don't hate these 4 hour bullish divergences, right? Like maybe we get a continuation up. Now just remember, value area lows your doorway to higher prices / key resistance until proven otherwise, right? So pull from this high to the low. Yeah, so this would definitely be key resistance if we did get a little bit of a bounce here, right? I'm not saying long XRP because of this, right? But 4 hour bull div, again, just because you think price is going to come up, even if you think it's going to come up, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you need to take the trade, right? You could just look for that, right? Because again, context is going to be king here. If you were able to get a bounce off that 4 hour bull div, which is going to confirm in about an hour, which also means it has an hour to disappear if you nuke below this level. But if we do get the little bullish divergences here to confirm, could get the push up towards the golden pocket 786. That's going to be your key resistance above, sitting between about 212 and 217. So yeah, and then if we wind up losing this level, as you guys know, we have a little bit of support down here at about $1.90. Once we lose that, very large gap down to another level of support at $1.71. And then once you lose that, could be on our way down to that golden pocket at $1.50. And again, these are support. These are not like the biggest levels of support, right? These are obviously, with our huge move up here, very low volume gap between basically these lows and this golden pocket where we have this consolidation right down here. So we do not want to lose this support, right? Hopefully we can get the bounce. But again, if we do, I would be looking at that local resistance here between 212 and 217. So there you go. That's what I'm looking at on XRP. Let's see. Shout out to C7 said, yeah, unemployment in Joel. Jerome Powell is now known as Joel. Jerome Powell speaks. Give us QE, big man. Come on, baby. Give us the QE. Shout out to Salim says, let's see. Shout out to you, bro. Drop that LS emoji if you got it. Yeah, no rate cuts until Trump plays nice. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Darren Dosing says it's just an appearance, nothing burger. They typically are. These types of things are typically nothing burgers, but who knows? Who knows, right? But typically they are. I would agree with you there, Darren. Let's see. Okay, so we took a look at XRP. We took a look at Solana. Took a look at Ethereum. Let's go ahead and jump on into HBAR. We're going to fly through these pretty quickly here. Bada boom, bada bing. Smash that like button if you guys appreciate the content and the value we provide here for absolutely free. Smash that like button. It helps out the channel endlessly. You have no idea, guys. We really do appreciate it if you just smash that like button. It's totally free 99 as well. I almost was going to write smash that like button. HBAR. All right, let's see. Is this the Bybit chart? Is this what we've been looking at? Yeah, it's pulled from all the way back. Let's see here. I don't know if this is... doesn't look like our current chart, to be honest with you. Maybe it is. Huh. I guess that is. Is that our chart? No way. I guess it is. All right, let's take a look at this. So I can get rid of this. And I am also... I'm going to keep this on the chart, right? I'm going to keep this volume profile. I'm going to get rid of these horizontal lines, though. Okay, so, and this does come from over here. Get rid of this 786 as it's been lost, or actually what we could do is just move it down to the next significant 786, which unfortunately lives below this value area low. Oh, man. That is not that good of a look, in my opinion. But let's take a look here. So right now, right, we got the bounce through this profile, the rejection off pretty much this POC here. Lost it, rejection, tried to get out again, got stuck in the profile, back to the POC, back to the value area low, deviation, back to the POC, deviation again, couldn't get back in. So, yeah, these are the key levels down below. Yeah, there's the key level right there. Oh, man, I don't want to say it. I really don't. I hate to be this guy, but... got to hold this level. If you cannot hold this level, guys, and we break down below here, we might be able to get a bigger drop down. I'm actually going to do this real quick, guys. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Boom. Actually, I'm not going to delete those levels. I'm just going to put them in a folder here and just hide them so they're not gone for good. Yo, shout out to Wick589. What is going in? What is going in? What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Says, hey, urgent question. Actually not, but makes you go, where was Russia on the list of countries Trump said we were applying tariffs? Oh, it was absent? Attacked at democracy. No tariffs. Got it. Shout out to Wick589. That is interesting. That is interesting. Now, Wick, can you turn that into a poem is the question. I'm kidding. I know you can. Shout out to Wick589, one of our most famous CandleMafia members. He's a famous poet. I don't know if you guys know it. Just look up his name, Wick589. He is a famous poet. I got to run, Mafia. Thanks for another great live, Frankie. See you tomorrow. Shout out to Kodon. Have a great one, bro. We'll see you tomorrow. And may the crypto trading gods be with you. All right, so let's take a look here. Let me just see. Where did that... Okay, yeah. So locally here, I mean, this is not the most beautiful level. But, you know, if I were to pull a profile here, like, it would have to be this, right? And this is pretty much the same profile I just marked out before. But this is your key support, right? Like this is the, you don't have a lot here. Quick move up. Wasn't a very, I mean, you got the quick move down right here, but then we just kind of grinded through that level. But yeah, this would be key support down below, right? You have your value area sitting right here between about 15 and 12 cents, at 13 cents almost, right? You have value up here. Just pull that roughly, right? You have value up here. You wound up coming back up, bearishly rejecting, and now where are we going to go, right? Well, you don't have any value here, right? So you wouldn't really expect maybe you build out new value, right? But this is the next real area of balance. Once you lose one volume profile, price is very likely to get gravitated towards the previous areas of balance. And this is it. We have already come down here. If we break into this range, guys, the door does open. Get stuck under this value area high. The doorway does open to about 0.136. Lose that POC, value area low at 12 cents. Now, the interesting thing here is if we pull our full golden pocket from like really where things got super, super intense on this pump, right? So we'll just pull it from this low to the swing high right there. Lose that golden pocket, guys, on a big time frame like this. Can't get back above that golden pocket, get accepted into this range. Like even not looking at this volume profile, lose the golden pocket. Where are you expecting price to go? Probably looking down towards that 786 value area low. So this would be big support because you have the value area low, which is the only value that you have below, and you have the 786 Fibonacci retracement. I hope that we don't have to go for that 786. But honestly, if we were going to bounce here, that is where you wanted to do it, right? Or even here, right? Bounce off that golden pocket. All it did was give us some, support in the meantime before breaking down and, potentially targeting that 786. So one reason you could go to that 786 is loss of the golden pocket. Typically, we do go for that 786, right? Not a guarantee, but, we have a nice guide here now. Break below the value area high at 15 cents, right? That's maybe where you start that journey down to that level, right? And then if we did deviate here, this would be a big area to be looking for massive, bounces, in my opinion, right? Obviously, you would first kind of view it as, hey, let's get back to the POC, flip the POC, go back to the high, and then that's where you hope to, send it to much higher prices. But that's what I'd be looking at on HBAR as far as key levels of support. Green dot trying to print on the dang daily here. 4 hours is probably looking very similar to everything else, yeah. Little 4-hour bullish divergences, at least to your wicks here. You didn't really get it to your bodies into the value area high. So, yeah, looking a little better, right, than like Ethereum, not really sitting on any key support. You could consider this important support. But, again, it is also a doorway to lower prices. So, we'll see. 4-hour bull div trying to print here. Let's check that 15-minute money flow, trying to come up, getting a little rejection here. So if you can get that 15-minute green dot money flow crossover into the green as this 4-hour green dot is printing, we have 49 minutes to confirm it. Maybe you can get a little bounce to the upside, but again, I'd be a little bit careful here. Just with the way that our we don't have money flow cruise into the upside on time frames like the 4-hour or anything like that. Something I would like to see for that bigger bounce up. But that's what I'd be looking at. That is your key support to the downside. Let me hide this golden pocket because we're already losing it. Key resistance to the upside here, I'll just pull it locally. Could probably look at this little range, which is probably what was respected to the right here. And let me just pull this profile as well. So, yeah, pretty much... Whoops, pretty much the same. But I will take the more current one. Boom. There we go. We got the high, or we got the low, the POC, and the high. So there we go, right? So, I mean, if we look at it this way, let's pull our fib from the high to the low. I don't know if you're going to make it all the way up there, but obviously that value area low is going to be key resistance until proven otherwise. It is confluent with your 786. If we pull to this swing. So, yeah, more confluent on the POC there. But this would be the fib retracement that I would look for. If you do get a bigger retracement to the upside, I would watch this local golden pocket and this POC value area low 786, right? Whoops, I don't know what the heck I just clicked there. So, yeah, if you do get that 4-hour bull div to give you some kind of a bigger bounce to the upside, could look to push into the golden pocket, flip the golden pocket, and then come into this level. Once you break above here, you can look for the value area high, and then we get to assess the situation after the fact. But, yeah, if you bounce, I would look to come up here. Again, I don't love this 4-hour bull div just because money flow is not confluent. And again, you don't really have it to your bodies. But again, it could give you some kind of a bounce to the upside. But I would be very careful around these local levels of resistance. And if you dip down into this value area high, you better pray that we get out of here, right? You do not want to get stuck under this level. That's what calls for the bigger move down. So that's what I'd be looking at on HBAR. Yeah, like 16-hour money flow. I'd like to see that cruise into the upside too. Daily money flow trying to curve up here. You do actually have, I'd actually look at this as the 2-day, right? You don't have it. You don't have the 2-day bull div. Unbelievable. But, you could argue that you have lower lows on your price action here into your value area high with like the slightest little bull div there, but nothing really super, super intense in my own personal opinion. But that's what I'm looking at on H-bar for the most part. I'm just really, 3-day money flow crossing into the red. You need that fake out back into the green if you want this thing to come up in a massive way. It's got to happen, right? Like this is, from a binary perspective, this would make you anticipate lower highs and lower lows. So that's what I'd be looking at on H-bar. Let's jump into Dogecoin. We actually have not looked at Dogecoin in quite some time, guys. Let's see. Shout out to MST, said, how do you get the value area high, value area low on the chart? Shout out to MST. I appreciate you for being here, bro. Check out the beginner series on the channel. I have tutorials explaining everything in detail, how I use these volume profiles, not only how I get them on the chart to find key levels, but how I specifically use them to make money trading. And it's all for free. Let's see. Yo, shout out to AI Music is Everything. Great question, bro. Hi, Frankie. Can too much learning change your strategy? When should you evolve it and when shouldn't you? Shout out to AI Music. This is an amazing question. 100%. Too much information can be bad information. This is a 100% fact. Because if you have too much information, and this is why I recommend, you do not want to strategy hop. Pick something. There are so many profitable strategies out there. Smart money concepts, ICT, which I think is basically just smart money concepts, right? You could trade just Fibonacci's. You could trade volume profiles. You could trade just market cipher. There's so many different ways you can trade. You have to find what sticks in your head the best, right? I think, for me personally, the trading the volume profiles just makes perfect sense to me, right? Like when you look at it from a simple standpoint, where you have a value area high, a POC, a value area low, right? And you're just simply, this already sets you up for success, right? Because you're not looking for shorts, at least when you're beginning. I wouldn't recommend trying to catch every little retracement and every little bounce, right? But at the end of the day, you could look at your volume profile. Once you learn how to pull them, right? You're only looking for longs at the lows and deviations below, and you're only looking for longs with pushes into the high or deviations above. That already gives you a winning kind of mindset, right? It's like, I'm not looking for shorts until we're at key resistance or overvalued. I'm only looking for shorts when we're looking for longs, right? This is what just sticks in my head. And again, the idea that price ranges 80% of the time and only impulses the rest, right? That is kind of why I like it, right? And then once you impulse out of a range, where are you going to go? You're probably going to go where you had a previous area of balance, which makes price action very predictable, right? Because once you get stuck in here, there's going to be a high probability you rotate that profile to the value area low, right? So for me, that's what sticks in my head the best, right? I just understand profiles. I love looking at the market through that lens. But then, you don't want to look, in my opinion, it's not that you don't want to like be aware, but if you have moving averages, volume profiles, Fibonacci levels, daily, weekly, monthlies, MPOCs, you have ribbons, you have all this stuff on your chart. Your chart starts to look like a complete and total mess, right? And this is that's not what you want your chart to look like, right? You want your chart to be as simple as possible. Is this not our Dogecoin chart? What is going on here? Am I on the wrong chart? No, what the heck? What is going on with our Dogecoin chart? I don't know why this, whoops. But yeah, 100%, right? But stick to a strategy. Once you find something that works, spend time mastering that, right? Because it's especially in trading, right? There's always the shiny object syndrome, right? It's like, oh my God, should I be trading smart money concepts? Or wait, should I be trading volume profiles? Wait, should I be trading patterns? Should I be trading this? Should I be trading that? And at that point, right, especially if you are using a strategy, and there's so many profitable strategies out there, chances are if it is not working for you, and you know that other people are using this strategy and making money, a lot of people think like, oh, this strategy doesn't work anymore. Let me go to a different strategy, right? This is one of the quickest ways to slow down your trading journey. Master one thing. Chances are, as long as you're using a legit strategy, that if it's not working, it's probably mistakes that you're making. 99% of the time, almost 100% of the time, that's going to be the case. Unless you're trading some like random buy and sell indicator, obviously that's not going to work. But so yes, for me personally, and even all the stuff that I look at, it's very rarely on the chart at the exact same time, right? Like I like to turn my anchored VWAPs on and off, right, to clear up the chart. But yeah, I would say, learn like for me personally, right? Like, and you don't have to trade my strategies, but like in my beginner series, right? Learn the Fibonacci retracements, learn how to find key levels, learn how to use divergences, right? Learn how to use volume profiles, and then learn how to put it all together, right? And then if you want to say, hey, I also like moving averages, you could throw them on your chart, turn them on and off, and then see if you have confluence with that volume profile, value area low, and the moving average, or whatever it is, right? But 100%, you do not want to. Because at that point, then you're like, okay, I see a head and shoulders, but then this also kind of looks like we're at a value area low, so maybe it's going to go up, and then I have key levels above, and then eventually your chart just starts to look like, you know, your chart just winds up looking like this, right? And you're just like, I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. Should I long this, short this? Like, if your chart looks like that, right, and you're trying to say, like, all right, well, we could bounce here, but then I have this, and then these moving averages are, like, you're just going to be totally cluttered. It is a loser's game, right? So I would start off learning price action, right? Learning the simple stuff, horizontal key levels. Learn the simple stuff first, and just slowly start to add on. But I highly recommend 100%. Too much learning is definitely a bad thing. So yeah, hopefully that helps you out. Let's see. Yo, shout out to CJ said, my best strategy is to do the opposite of what I think I should do. Shout out to you, bro. Sometimes that is, especially in the beginning, it is, in the beginning of your journey, that you're going to find that being the case very often, right? Because you're going to be so victim to falling for the FOMO, right? You're going to be like, oh my God, maybe I should enter a long. Are we going to break out to new all-time highs? And then you long and you get wrecked, right? This is very common when you're starting to learn. So yeah, I honestly, like, I tell people all the time, like, when you first start, chances are, if you just count, sometimes you get beginner's luck. But for the most part, like, when you start your trading journey, usually if you just like counter trade yourself, you do sometimes wind up doing pretty well. It's pretty hilarious. Yeah, trade the strategies that make sense to you, right? Sometimes some people might not like volume profiles. Some people might not like Fibonacci. Some people might not like smart money concepts. And at the end of the day, you're pretty much all looking at the same stuff, right? I always use this example. ICT, right? And I don't know his full strategy or anything like that. I think he has multiple strategies. But at the end of the day, I think like one of the big things in their strategies are, you know, you wait for a market structure shift and then a retracement into a fair value gap, and then that's where you would look to enter a short, right? Would that work as a strategy? I think so. It seems pretty legit to me. I think that's a good strategy. But it's very similar to what I would look at, right? I might be looking at a volume profile, a breakdown, and then a bearish retest of the value area low, which might be confluent with a golden pocket, right? And a daily and a weekly, right? With bearish confirmation to enter the short. Am I looking at fair value gaps? No. Am I paying attention to the break in structure or the change of market structure shift? Yes, but like it's not a main, you know, I just kind of like autopilot for me, right? But like that's like the step-by-step kind of what they look for. But for me, I'd probably catch the same trade just looking at different stuff, right? So is there a reason for me to look at a fair value gap here? Not really. I could look at if there's a fair value gap there, be like, oh, okay, cool. This could add more confluence. But at the end of the day, we would take the same trade just based off different things. It would just look different on the chart. They're looking for market structure shift, retracement, right? Like into the fair value gap and then the move down, right? But for me, I would just look at that as a value area low, golden pocket retrace, and then an enter on a lower high, right? Maybe I have money flow coming out, right? That would give me the anticipation of the continuation down. So it's just different, right? Doesn't make this a worse strategy. It doesn't make that it a better strategy. It's just different, right? And you're all looking at the same information, the same candles anyway. And then maybe some people see that as a moving average crossover or something like that, right? So yeah, definitely overlearning and, you know, just find one thing, keep it simple, keep it as simple as possible in the beginning, and then slowly start to add stuff. So yeah, buy low, sell high. Shout out to Jeremy. Absolutely. Yeah, shout out to Nathan. To be honest with you guys, like for me personally, I used a lot of like just general traditional TA, support and resistance with Market Cypher B to begin with, right? It is, well, it really started on just trading patterns. I quickly learned that it's not that easy, right? But the market, like one of the biggest strategies that I use is one of the ones that I talk about all the time, guys. It is the Market Cypher B 116 strategies, right? Daily red dots with 90-minute money flow coming to the downside, right? Obviously, there's other time frames you could look at, but right, you have 90-minute daily red dot, 90-minute money flow about to cross over into the red. This makes you anticipate a potential continuation of the trend to the downside. What I would do here, very simply, is I would usually enter the short in this case, right? I say, okay, we got a daily red dot. I know daily red dots oftentimes give us some kind of a move down, right? And because it's a high time frame like the daily, sometimes they're significant. And if I have that 90-minute money flow, looking to cross over into the red at the same time, that's extra confluence, right? And I've had some pretty nice trades, right? Just entering as money flow was coming out like that, right? Front running the money flow crossover, which is a little bit dangerous, right? You don't really want to front run too much, but you do get a much better entry. But even if you entered on the money flow crossover, which happened right here, you still get a nice continuation of that downtrend, right? So in Market Cipher B, one of the reasons I like Market Cipher B so much is just because the way it's just so visual, right? Like, hey, if this money flow comes into the green, we would anticipate a trend to the upside. High, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Lower high, lower low. Bearish retracement, short it, right? It's like almost, and again, I am not like an ICT expert, right? So I don't know exactly what they look for, right? But like you get the breakdown, the bearish retest, that's kind of what they look for, right? I'm kind of roughing it out here. But what would I be looking at? I can almost guarantee you that if I were looking at a range up here, I'd be saying, well, hey, let me see this real quick. Is that a retracement into the value area low or something like that? And oftentimes it will be, right? Or a Fibonacci retracement is probably an easier one to look at. I don't know which one it's going to be. Maybe this lower high to the low, right? So in this case, I'd be like, okay, 90-minute money flows coming out, right? Maybe even your 30-minute money flows coming out. We break down. I missed my entry at the top. Oh, my God, right? Wait for the retracement into a golden pocket. Maybe that's a fair value gap. Maybe it's not, right? And then you look for the short. But yeah, simply Market Cipher B is like a really easy thing to learn that can just really, especially the money flow, can help you try to stay on the right side of the market, right? You're not going to anticipate no pullbacks, right? But you're going to anticipate over time that trend will continue to the upside. And again, it's not foolproof, right? Like it's not going to play out 100% of the time, and you have to be careful, and you have to have other confluences. But just to start, like you don't even have to enter the trades. Demo trade it, right? Like look for those strategies and demo trade it. See if it plays out. If it plays out, if you try it 20 times on a demo account and it plays out 16, 15% of the time, even 18% of the time, whatever it is, if you take 20 trades off that strategy and 16 of them work, it starts to give you a little bit of confidence to put a little bit of money on the line, right? So yeah, that's what I would, that's kind of how I would answer that question. Yo, shout out to Dutch, says indicators are like women. They're all unique, but there's not one that has it all. Tip. Use them together. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And the one thing I love about Lux Algo is that it can actually help you learn about price action, right? It's not just telling you when to buy and sell. Obviously, they have help with things like the smart trail to find resistance, etc. But use price actions concepts, and I think you could get this as like a separate bundle. You don't have to get the full. You don't have to get the full suite, right? You could just get price actions concepts, and they have a ton of free ones that'll like. I'm pretty sure they have a price. I think they have a free price action. Price action toolkit light, right? So like you can even get the free one, which let me get rid of the premium one real quick. Dang it. But yeah, they have a bunch of free ones too. Like Lux Algo has so many free indicators. It's pretty insane, right? So if you wanted to like try it out, you could try out a lot of these for free. Where'd it go? Am I tripping? Oh, there. No, that's you, Algo. Oh, that's the one that I clicked. Where's Lux Algo? There it is. Oh, wow, look at that. ICT tools. That's pretty crazy. This is free. Again, I don't know how this works or anything, but like that. But I'm pretty sure. Oh, and you could see. Yeah, look, market structure shift. See, that's what they look for. Market structure shift, and there's the fair value gaps. So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what they look for. Oh my God, market structure shift. Look for the retracement into the fair value gap, right? But again, like we'd be looking at very, very similar stuff, just using different tools. That's all. But yeah. Anyway, let's continue on here. We are running out of time here very quickly. Yeah, this is crazy. Where is my actual Dogecoin chart? Am I tripping? I guess I am. Or we're just going to have to start a... here we go. Okay. I don't know why this was so hidden. All right, so let's see here. Just to get some context here. I mean, hey, here we are. Let me pull up the lower bear market range. Where is it at? There it is. So let's pull this to the high, from the low to the tippy top. So, yeah, I mean... If we look at this, right, we got the rip, make sure I'm not in bar replay mode. Yeah, so we got the rip, right? This is your massive doorway to higher prices. This is what we looked at the time of all the altcoins starting to rip. Get above this value area low. Look for the move to the POC, the move to the value area high. This is in 2024. Got the move back to the POC, acceptance back into your range. Where does price go? Back to the POC, bearish retest, back to the value area low. And here we are. Here we are sitting at that value area low. This is potentially a pretty important level to look at for some support, right? We have our golden pocket. We have our value area low, and I don't know why there's 2 boxes here. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. And come on. Get rid of that. Okay. So you have your doorway to higher prices, which is the value area low. You have your POC up there. So technically, I mean, this is definitely key support. Bitcoin's starting to break a high here, starting to try to crack above the current highs. But yeah, here is your support, right? You've come down to the value area low. You wick down. You came up. I would be looking here for, you're at support, right? You do have a potential 2-day bullish divergence forming, right? That would be nice to see even if we play around in here a little bit, put in the 2-day bull div at the golden pocket value area low. And again, I don't really have a lot of these horizontal levels. You also have a daily here, but that was already tapped. You do have a daily right here, though. So yeah, you have a daily level, the golden pocket. Golden pocket's already tapped, but if you could push into that daily potentially with some bull divs, you're at the value area low. This is typically not where we FOMO short, right? The shorts are to be had up here when everybody is bullish, right? Not down here when everybody is saying bear market, oh my God, it's all over. And again, doesn't mean that we can't continue down. However, we're just at support, right? We would have to assume I'd be happy to at least let this thing retrace before looking for another move down. If it just dumps, it dumps, that's fine. But traditionally, you're not going to look to short at support. So, no daily bull div here just yet. So I would watch this. This is key support. I'd be looking for some bullish confirmations in here. Take a look at the 4-hour. You do have a little 4-hour bullish divergence printing here. But again, look at your money flow, right? Money flow is tanking, right? So this will be looked at as a little bit more of a slight retracement to the upside if you get that 4-hour green dot and bull div. Slight retracement to the upside, value area low as your key resistance. Flip above that, maybe you get the bigger move. But yeah, I would say maybe a short-term bounce if you can get that bull div on the 4-hour. Let's check that 15-minute money flow. Man, it's not pretty, but it is technically trying to make a higher low here. So we can get that 15-minute money flow to creep up just a bit. I mean, this might even be looked at as just like a little push to the upside, right? Like, I don't know if I would necessarily be super interested in this, but, even if I were looking for this to pull into this retracement, the retracement levels, come on, where would this bring us? Come on. Boom. So, yeah, I mean, even if you were looking to ride that up to the golden pocket, I mean, that's not the most beautiful risk to reward. Probably want to put your stop a little higher than that. But, yeah, I mean, that's a 6% move to the upside. I'm not saying long Dogecoin right now, right? Like, the move would be to, like, long as you're seeing the 15-minute bull divs here, which you did get, right? So, ideally, that would be like that, and you'd already be in profit. But, I mean, I'm just using this to kind of show where I would think price would go. I'm not saying this is a good trade to take. I wouldn't say it's the worst either, but, it's not like an A+. 12-minute money flow crossing into the green. Come on, 4-hour green dot. Is that 3-hour green dot printing? Yeah, you got the 3-hour bull div. You might be able to get a little retracement up here. I'd be looking to come into the value area low first, 16 cents, up to the golden pocket at 17 cents. And then maybe even up to the 786, right? So this would be your key resistance down below, right? Let me actually move this support, right? Because you lost the you lost the value area low. Golden pocket daily. Yeah, I mean, you still have your daily down there. Maybe you front run the daily slightly. Again, not necessarily something I'd be super interested in, but just to kind of show if we do get that 4-hour bull div to give us a bounce, I would look to potentially, right? Maybe you come down to the daily first. Maybe you don't, but little volatility. Maybe push into the value area low, flip that, look to come into your golden pocket and your 786. Value area low sitting at 16 cents, golden pocket at 17 cents. Well, I should say 0.167, golden pocket at 0.170, and then the 786 at 0.174. So that's what I would look for if that bull div does give you the move up. But again, money flow really kind of fighting against you here, unless this is the peak of your 3-hour money flow here at the low, and you're just going to start coming up here. In that case, maybe we do see that. But short term with the 4-hour bull div printing, I wouldn't be surprised if we get local continuations up here. Let's see. Let's see. Friend, yes, I think that is more accurate. Shout out to Dawn. I'm not sure exactly what you guys are saying. Yo, shout out to Jungle Boy said lackluster. Lackluster, guys. Lackluster. Suggested using women together to my wife. Indicators aren't good, dude. Shout out to Slim. I don't know what I'm missing out on chat here. But let's continue on to Litecoin. All right, let's take a look at LTC here, baby. We're running out of time here a little bit, but let's go ahead and check good old. Am I tripping? Where is Litecoin? We'll just look at let's take a look at it on the Bybit chart. Actually, I don't know if we have a current Litecoin chart. I don't think we do. All right, we'll just take a look at the Binance chart here. So, I mean, higher time frame. I mean, let's go high. Let's go weekly, right? Weekly, let's pull the fib from the low to the high, right? All right, cool. We're at the golden pocket. If we're looking for higher lows and higher highs, we would hope to hold that golden pocket to crack the highs. Is it going to happen, though, right? A lot of altcoins are sitting at those golden pockets. But let's go ahead and pull our range here. Probably pull this whole thing, maybe. Let's pull it to here. Yeah, I would wait to extend this all the way to the right. Let's see. Value area low, POC, value area high. Okay, so this is what I would look for. This is support. I mean, if you don't hold this golden pocket, you have the POC, you have the value area high, you have the golden pocket, right? You got to hold this zone. If you lose this zone, 786 value area low, very likely. Hopefully we don't have to see that. I mean, this would be brutal. This is like back down to 2022 lows, right? Like almost, like we were back here in, yeah, that's like 2022 lows. Oh, man, we don't want to see that. But these are the next macro levels of support. We want to hold this golden pocket. We want to hold the POC. We want to hold the value area high. Right, so we got to get back out of here. The problem is, if we zoom in enough here, I'm just gonna get these. Take this blue box off the chart to clean it up. If we look here, right, let's go up to a little bit of a higher time frame. Let's take a look at the daily. Right, you look at this breakdown into the range, retest on the value area high, and a lower low, and we now live below the POC and the golden pocket. If we can't, we have a lot to reclaim here. And when you look at this from a volume profile perspective, right, you're looking at this as, hey, we got the breakdown, the bearish retest. Now we're below the POC. If we really got to get out of here, right? If we can't, doorway is open, again, to that 786 at 70.45, right? Can't get back above the golden pocket. Can't get above the POC. And a lot of resistance here now. We just lost all these levels on that bearish retest. So we can't quickly reclaim all this, which in my opinion it's a lot, right? And we continue down. 786 would be next at about 70.15, right? Lose that, and you're obviously looking for a full fill the volume profile, right? But that 786 is still going to be key support, even though your value area low is sitting below you, right? Because on a macro time frame, you would hope that you either hold the higher low here, right, on the golden pocket. If not, you would look for it to come in on the 786, right, to hopefully keep some kind of a trend going. So, yeah, I mean, big zone, big zone. But we're, if we just look at this from a volume profile perspective, yeah, even take the fib off, right? We lost the golden pocket. I mean, I don't love that we're stuck in here. This is like not the best sign, right? Can't get back above the POC. We can look for that continuation down. Now, in the bullish case, you do have the daily bull div printing. Is it at a key level of support? I mean, maybe on this POC. But I will say, if you are able... Yeah, if you're able to hold this, oh, God, your 12-hour red dot is printing. You got 22 minutes left to confirm that. Let's check the 4-hour, 45-minute money flows in the green. That doesn't make any sense. 80-minute money flow crossing over. So I actually don't hate on Litecoin. I do not hate the little daily bull div that we have here. Now, again, is money flow super confluent? Not really, right? But just a daily bull div, regardless of money flow, can a lot of times give you some kind of a push up. I wouldn't anticipate it to be as beautiful as having a daily bull div with money flow coming up, but it could potentially give you a big retracement. Like even, let me see here. Nah, it's not the same situation. But yeah, it could give you that. If you get that daily bull div on Litecoin, I do think you could potentially continue back up to the POC. POC sitting at 91.20. Flip that. Look to come into the value area high at $97. Start breaking out of that. Maybe you could break back into this other profile. Actually, yeah, this is... let's pull that to there. Pull this to here. So yeah, this would be your upper profile on Litecoin. So these would be worth looking at as well, right? If you do get a big move up, which I don't know if I'd anticipate that, but get the daily bull div, right? Again, a lot of resistance here at 91.42 and 96.38. Once you flip that, doorway to higher prices, it sits at about 108.41. Could a daily bull div get you up there? Maybe. You really want to see money flow start to turn around in a big way. But you also have a potential 2-day bull div looking to print as well. But again, money flow really does make us anticipate, right? Not that you can't get a retracement, but it makes you anticipate potential lower highs and lower lows. Maybe even a bigger macro lower high before a lower low. This money flow on the higher time frames doesn't look good still, right? Even on Bitcoin. On the 2-day, 3-day coming out here. This hasn't even crossed over yet. So maybe some short-term relief into your local levels, and maybe in the more bullish case, maybe up to the value area low. But for the most part, right, I would definitely be taking into consideration that you have your tangible levels, right? Like you're more, yeah. You don't really have a ton of confluent. Yeah, I would watch these volume profile levels. If you continue up, POC value area higher than next key levels of resistance. Flip that. Look for your 108.41 value area low. Again, I don't think you're going to come up there tonight. But if you did, that's the levels I would be watching. Daily bull div hopefully gives you some kind of retracement up. So kind of the same for Bitcoin. Little local retracement. Definitely in the cards here as those lower time frames give you those bull divs with money flow coming up on the 15-minute and the 4-hour green dot. Are we printing it yet? Almost. We almost got that green dot on the 4-hour. If we could print that green dot on the 4-hour with the 15-minute money flow crossover into the green, maybe we could see that continuation of the trend. So watch that 4-hour, 15-minute strategy to potentially push back up to the POC. And if not, we have our key levels of support down here on Bitcoin getting closer to 80,600 and maybe even a little bit below that. If we can't hold this, if we lose this range in like decisively, I would be looking down towards 79.1 all the way down to that 78.5 level. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get the local retracement. And if we don't, I'm going to be looking for bounces here. We lose this, I'm looking for bounces here. That's what I'm expecting, guys. But again, I'm not holding any trades currently, just letting things play out. Caught some beautiful, beautiful trades over this week, so not looking to take anything low probability right now. So we'll see what happens. And with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here till the end of the stream. Smash that like button on your way out. Did this work? Is the stream deck broken? Are we on our face cam? There we go. So shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Shout out to Wick589. Shout out to Lakeville. Shout out to Fox3, Jesse, our like police, Gen Z, Dutch. We got Sam in the chat. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. And I will see you tomorrow, same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Have a great night. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f*** is it? Did you have them 2 bells ready? Spin it for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up from my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life. I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Oh my God, guys. Massive wick to the upside. Holy cow. We just got massive volatility. I'm just kidding. It's a trend line. Anyway, guys, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
Oh my God, now it's going down. I'm just kidding, guys. I actually got to get out of here. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.